Hello, this is an introduction to the Adoration Servants Adoration Search tool that will let you find chapels so you can spend more time with our Eucharistic Lord. So I'm going to click on this introduction to the chapel search here first, just as an introduction. We want to spend time with the Lord and we want to find chapels near us. So I'm not going to go through all this description on the Adoration Servant site, but just so you know, you can go to adorationsearch.org, and this is the tool that we are going to demo. Now, what comes up right here for me, since I live in Surf City, Huntington Beach, California, and I've already used this system, I have the chapel search set up for my location. So I let the system use my location. I'm here. I'm pretty far from the beach, almost 2 miles. And you can see that these are the adoration chapels within the 10-mile radius for the default date range, which is for the next month. So for the next month, within 10 miles of my house, we have all these chapels. And there's a list of the first 50 chapels, depending on what you search, and it tells you the schedule and lets you go to the website, gives you contact information, tells you how many miles you are. And you can also look here by clicking on a site. So this shows that I clicked on St. Bonaventure, and they're Monday 9 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. So basically like 24 hours once a week. And then the 7th day of the month, they're also 9 a.m. to 6:30. Now you see that there's the circle here on the range. We can specify other things as well, but I think one thing to let you see right off the bat, because since this is everything for a month, what if I just want to go to adoration right now, today? So I'm going to just change that to today only and submit the search, and you see that I have less choices for a Thursday in the middle of the week. And I can look and see, who's out there. St. Hedwig is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. So if I want to go later today, I could go there. Or I happen to know St. Vincent de Paul in Huntington Beach. That's my parish, so they're right by me. But if I wanted to look at the outskirts here, here's Holy Family Cathedral, and they have adoration monthly on Thursday from 7 to 8 p.m. All of these chapels need to be continuously looked at and updated, and we could use volunteers to help with that. Now let's do a little bit more though. So let's expand our search. Let's look at one other thing. So I'm going to come here instead of today. I'm going to say, well, let's go tomorrow, Friday. So if we just go Friday, April 10th, and we submit, we see that we still have a few chapels. But one thing I want to bring up to you so that you could see a trend nationwide is that there's much more adoration going on First Fridays in pretty much every diocese. So there you see that there's quite a few more chapels on First Friday. So this is how this works. Also, if I was to do directions, but let's expand our search a little bit. So first off, note I'm doing all dioceses. So I'm going to go ahead and say, let's say what's within 50 miles of Huntington Beach. And wow, now you see we've got, First Friday is off the rails with all the adoration opportunities within 50 miles of my house here for First Friday. What if I just say, what about today? And so you see that today there's still quite a few opportunities, but you can tell that the First Friday is much more. So now let's say I want to look at one of these here. So this is Immaculate Conception in Monrovia, and I just by chance picked the Perpetual Adoration Chapel. I can do directions, and this will give me Google directions to that parish from my current location. And so that's basically how it works. However, we have some other things. So what if I'm going to go to, let's say, San Francisco next month? So I'm going to come here and choose location, and I'm going to just say San Francisco, California, and I'll go 50 miles to start. And we want to do a date range as well. So let's say that instead of today, I'm not going to be there today, but let's say I'm going to be there next week. So today is April 9th. So let's say I'm going to be there April 20th through April 23rd. And 50 miles is kind of long to start. Let's just do 20 miles in San Francisco. And you see here that San Francisco has quite a bit of opportunity for me to go to adoration while I'm in San Francisco. Also, this was 20 miles from the center of San Francisco. And if I come here and just say, well, I only want to look at stuff in the Diocese of San Francisco, still showing all this, but I didn't say only show the chapels within the boundaries of the state or diocese. So if I click this, now you see that it only shows us within the boundaries of San Francisco. Now, San Francisco's kind of small, and if we were to, increase this, we would see this. And based on the map, if you know where you are, but let's say, for example, that instead of just saying San Francisco in general, let's say we know where we're going to go. So I'm going to say that I'm going to be at Stanford University. So I'm going to click here on Stanford University, and I don't want 35 miles. I just want to know what's within 5 miles of Stanford University on those 3 days, because that's where I'm going to be. And so now you see that this zeroes in on you, so you can see chapels that are available to you. You got St. Raymond's here. You also have the cloistered Dominican nuns. This is one of my most beautiful adoration places that I've ever been to, as far as small geographical area, is right here. You have the Corpus Christi Monastery, Church of the Nativity. So now let's do a pilgrimage. So if I'm going to be going from Huntington Beach to San Francisco on these 3 days, maybe I want to know what we have along the way. So I'm going to go San Francisco. Oh no, I'm going to go Huntington Beach, California, to Stanford University. And I'm going to be driving on let's say we're going to be driving on the 19th. 19th is Sunday. That's not going to be a good day. I can explain that. But the least amount of scheduled adoration is on Sundays usually, because Mass takes over. So let's just say we're going to go from Huntington Beach to Stanford University, and we're going to make that drive on the 20th of April. So now when I submit the search, you can see that it gave us adoration chapels along the way. There's actually not too much in the San Francisco along the 5. Also, look at a state. So let's look, for example, at Hawaii. And you see here that Hawaii comes up and shows where there's adoration in Hawaii for those days. And if we wanted to get an idea of just Hawaii in general, we can just expand the search to make it over a month, and then you'll see that we have a bit more that's going on in Hawaii. So let's talk about a pilgrimage. So if we're going to do a pilgrimage, we have to specify starting locations. So I'm going to go ahead and do Huntington Beach again, since that's my base. We're actually planning a pilgrimage tomorrow. So I'm going to say April 10th to April 10th. I'm going to say within 10 miles, we're going from Huntington Beach to Burbank, California. And we're actually going to do this pilgrimage. I'm planning on filming it tomorrow with my trusty navigator, Xenia, who loves the Eucharist. So now you see here we have chapels with adoration tomorrow along the route that brings us to Burbank and back. And 10 miles is giving us a decent idea of what kind of adoration we have, but you could see that this area here is almost like another path. So we want to kind of stay on the path. So we're going to, instead of 10 miles, we'll just do 5 miles. And now I'm going to go ahead and expand this here so we could look a little closer just at the map to see what we've got. So we started Huntington Beach, and as we were going, we would maybe go, okay, well, what's this one here in Norwalk? It's St. John of God, and they have adoration every day from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m., Sunday through Saturday. So we know, okay, that would be a good one that we could maybe stop at. And then we also have Our Lady of Perpetual Help along the way, which is Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. So depending on whether we want to catch them coming or going, we can look at that. And then what we're really interested in on this pilgrimage is, and we didn't even know this at first, we actually wanted to do this pilgrimage yesterday on Wednesday, but we had a delay and we moved it to Friday. And so what that actually did is, here at the Cathedral of Our Lady of Angels, we're actually going to be able to go there on Friday 7:30 a.m. to noon. So we'll be able to go to adoration at the cathedral. So we decided that that's going to be one of our main points. And then you could see that we're, looking as well as at these other chapels, so we can make these stops along the way. Now, there's also a phone app, by the way, that I should have been prepared to show you a few screen clips, but what we'll be doing is we will leave. Xenia has a 4 a.m. to 5 a.m. holy hour in Huntington Beach, so we're going to leave at 5 a.m. We're probably going to just go straight to the cathedral to make it in time for their 8 a.m. Mass. Although you can see here we can't go here in the morning, and this one 8 a.m. would be too early, so there's not really anything noticeable along the way here to stop along the way. So we will probably just end up going straight to Our Lady of the Angels Cathedral. You see here, adoration here starts at 9 a.m. as well. So this will be our launching point, and then we will use the phone app and drive around here, and it'll tell us other places to go. Now, we also know we want to come back south along this Torrance line because there's a lot of adoration there. One thing that the system is going to do at some point in the future, we're going to be able to let you to plan your trip. So what we'd like to do now is say, okay, well, we're going to go from Burbank to Santa Monica. So let's just see what's along the way in Burbank of Santa Monica coming back. And you see that for a 5-mile radius coming from Burbank, and actually we should have went, well, we'll just do Burbank. So you can see that not much going on to get here. It does bring us to this Culver City, St. Augustine, which is noon to 1 p.m. on Friday, so we should be able to make that as a stop. There's also St. Anne's, which is Friday 10 a.m. to 5:30, so we should be able to make both of those a visit. And then if we come back home, so now we're going to go Santa Monica to Huntington Beach. And this will show us chapels along the way. Now, one thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to expand the search, because if you notice the Palos Verdes Peninsula, we don't really see anything, because if I look at this one, St. Peter and Paul, which we definitely want to go to, this one is a beautiful perpetual adoration chapel. It's 3.74 miles from the 405, which is our trip route, but I'm going to go ahead and do 10 miles here because, see, I want to look at these two on the peninsula. We have St. John Fisher, that is Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., and we have Star of the Sea Church, which is Monday through Friday, Saturday to 6 p.m. So you could see that we've got quite a bit of chapels and choices along the way that we can make. And it's going to be a beautiful pilgrimage. This shows you how to use this system. I hope that it gave you a good idea on how to do that. And I'm going to just touch right here as a final step that this says on the pilgrimage, why not spend a day or more on a pilgrimage to multiple adoration chapels? This is an especially efficacious way to make reparation to the Sacred Heart. So why do we want to make reparation to the Sacred Heart? And this is something that really changed my life. I gave a talk on the missing, forgotten message of our Lord's devotion in the Sacred Heart, and it brought tears to my eyes as I was doing it, and it made me create ocadoration.org, because what our Lord really was talking about in devotion to the Sacred Heart is that there is a real sadness, as far as our Lord God can be sad, that there's so many Catholics that actually believe in the real presence. So I'm not talking about the 70% famous quote of 70% people who don't believe in the real presence. I'm talking about the 30% who do believe in the real presence, but basically are like, yeah, our Lord's present in the Eucharist. I go to Mass on Sunday. I don't have to go visit him in the Blessed Sacrament. That's not really part of my life. And our Lord wants us to visit him in the Blessed Sacrament, and he wants us to love the greatest gift that he gave after dying for us, which is the Eucharist. And so he wants us to make reparation for the lukewarm Catholics that are lukewarm to the Eucharist. So making these pilgrimages and visiting chapels, I think, is a really good way. And I mentioned the phone apps. So, okay, I have a demo of the phone app that I'm bringing it up in this app. Some of how this shows. So this is actually a a video of the phone app that we'll put on somewhere that you could see. But the phone app right here, you can go to Google Play and the Apple Store and download the phone app. So I'm going to leave this here, and hopefully this will inspire you to find Eucharistic Adoration chapels. It's a beautiful way to make trips and visit our Lord in the Blessed Sacrament. The more you do, the more you will love him, the more you will love your neighbor. Thank you.